Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Discourse analysis channels. Today, we're going to study, or we are going to explain to you what is text structure. As usual, here we are, Grace Espinoza and Francisca.
So today's objective or goal is that today we are going to explain you how to analyze the structure of texts. We are going to start today analyzing a narrative text, and this is the structure that you have to follow when scaffolding. Here you can pause the video and read everything in order to be analyzed later. And then you have the text structure, which consists of 4 dimensions that you can read and then continue with the video. So the first text is a narrative text. It's called The Ugly Duckling. Probably you have heard about this text. And it is experiential because it tells the personal experience of the character. Then we can say that it's also interpersonal because it facilitates the interaction and empathy between the characters and the readers. And finally, we have the textual function, because the story is coherent and also well organized. So here is the text. You can pause the video and read it and then continue with the video. So in terms of the scaffolding, first we have to identify the orientation. Who, where, when, and what. So who are the main characters of the story? We have the ugly duckling, the mom duck, we have the other ducklings, we have the swans, we have the rabbits, and also we have the birds. And then where we have to identify when happens this story, then where is where this story takes place, and finally what refers to what is happening in the story. And to answer that question, we are going to analyze the other 4 steps, which is complication. Complication refers to what is the main event that changes everything. For example, the ugly duckling is valid for his looks and decides to leave to find his acceptance. Then we have the sequence of events. We have when the duckling travels, then we have when he faces criticism, then we find when he finds the swans, and finally when he finally feels accepted. In number 4, we have the resolution, when the duckling sees his reflection in the lake and he finally realizes that he has become a beautiful swan. And finally, we have the coda, which is the moral of the story, which tell us that true beauty comes from kindness, bravery, and staying true to oneself. In terms of the text structure, firstly, we have the grammatical structure, which are these principal or most relevant grammatical features that we can find in the text. For example, we have the use of past tense in the story. We have the use of adjectives to characterize different places or emotions, feelings, or characters. Then we have the existence of the present, of simple and compound sentences. Then we have the use of pronouns in order to avoid repetition. Then we have the connectors in order to link ideas, phrases, or paragraphs. And finally, we have the presence of third-person narrative. Now, let's talk about the recurrence rules. We can have here the rules, right? And now I am going to read the examples for you. These are the examples present in the text. We have, in terms of anaphoric procedures, we have this sentence which tells us, finally, one egg cracked open to reveal a tiny duckling. Though the mother loved all her babies, she noticed this one looked different. So we used the word she. Then we have lexical substitution. Instead of always saying mother duck, the story uses the duckling's mother or the mom. Then we have co-reference, which tell us that the ugly duckling and he both refer to the same character. And finally, we have elision. Feeling sad and lonely, he decided to leave and find a place to belong.
For progression patterns, we have in the ugly duckling, the story is the pattern of continuous theme progression, which approach is focusing on the same topic and to introduce new details about this development of the tale. We have some examples to the team and the rim. For example, as the time passed, which is the theme, and the rim that Dudley was teased for looking different from others. Down there, you have another example, which is the decision to leave. You can move on. For the connection rules, we have the relation, which refer to the logical and semantic connection between the different parts, which is the cohesion, and the connection, which are the connector of the main ideas to read this more smoothly. And here we have some examples of relation, and which in the Ugly Duckling is feel different and being teased by others drives story. And the connection, which are conjunctions, for example, all and but. The second service that we have, it's more an exercise than an explanation. So now it's your turn to understand what we are talking about. The story is According to the Lights by O. Henry. Go to the link and find out what it's about. The text two is also a narrative text with interpersonal function, which means that only two refers to tell the story to another ones. The scaffolding for this text is quite long complicated. It's not as easy as the last text. In the orientation, we can define it in the first paragraph, which started so in where the story happens, which is the big city. We know that it's New York City. What happened? John Murray and the captain had met and become friends. And who are the main characters? They are introduced as Murray and captain. In the complication, we have different complication for both characters. The captain has no longer become a captain. This means that he has lost the status that he had before and the privilege that he had. In the case of Murray, he has also lost his privilege because he used to be, as it is compared, to a prince, but he was kicked out of his home. Here is the complicated part. Because the sequence of the events, we can show how the character reacts and feels about the complications. And both characters have several sequences of events in which they had to fight against famine and about be resilient. And in the resolution of these texts, we do not see a quick resolution, but we can connect it with the coda, which is to have the value to continue living what we are living and be resilient and brave and determined to find the good in life. Can you identify here the grammatical features? Pause the video and then continue. So if you thought that past tenses are used in this text, you are completely correct. Past tenses are actually one of the most common tenses that you can use in narrative text. And we also can find the use of complex sentences, as it is in the second example. Now, let's pause it again. And can you recognize the recurrence rules? If you say reception in the first one, you are correct, because they refer to both several times to refer to both characters, Murray and the captain. And the second one, we have elisions, because he was holding the hand of an Italian woman who sold apples and garlic in Essex Street. We don't have to refer to the Italian woman again to know that we are talking about her. We have two more examples. And now I'm going to explain you why the first sentence is anaphoric procedure. It is because he made the second sentence when he gave his fiery mustache a windward and twist and he dragged into the side part of black-edged cuff. It referred to the same thing that was referred in the first sentence. He has made some funny attempts to smarten his appearance. He tried to look better in the first sentence, and in the second sentence, that explains what he did. And in lexical substitution, and when Murray said about the police captain named Murray, and in the final sentence, they said, "Is this man?" Man refers to Murray.
Then we have the progression pattern. So first we have the present of the progression with continuous theme because it continuously talks about the characters' lives and the impact of the events of their lives. So we have here the example. We have the theme, which tell us about the person and its action, and then we have the rime, which complements this theme, right, and gives us more information. And finally, we have the connectivity rules. And here we have the use of coordinating conjunctions like and. Why? Because these help us to link the information and make and show this relationship between the phrases, the sentences, and the paragraphs. So, as a summary, here you have the scaffold of the text, of the narrative texts, which is going to help you to understand better the text structure.
Today we explain you about the narrative structure mostly, but exist other types of scaffolding. For example, descriptive, the ones who helps us to describe some type of text, or also the instructive ones, and other that we will not show you now, but maybe in a next video. So thank you for watching us. If you have any doubt, please leave us on the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.